What happens when a lie, fueled by political ambition, spirals out of control and becomes a tool for defamation? That's exactly the story behind Alexander Smaroff, a former FBI informant turned political pawn, whose false allegations against President Joe Biden and his family were embraced by GOP leaders as part of a broader campaign to smear the president. Now, justice has caught up to Smaroff as he pleads guilty to tax fraud and lying to federal authorities, facing a possible prison sentence of 48 to 72 months. But this isn't just a story about one man's lies. It's a tale of how those lies were weaponized to create a narrative of corruption, used to undermine the Biden presidency and propagated as fact by prominent GOP figures. In a victory for truth and justice, the Biden administration's steadfast approach has exposed this charade, turning a smear campaign into a cautionary tale about the dangers of political deceit. Let's dive into how this unfolded and why it matters for American democracy. 1. The rise and fall of Alexander Smaroff. Alexander Smaroff's transformation from a trusted FBI informant to a disgraced fabricator of lies is a story of ambition gone wrong. Initially positioned as someone who could provide valuable intelligence, Smaroff's credibility deteriorated when his baseless accusations against the Biden family began to surface. His central claim that he had first-hand knowledge of a $5 million bribe allegedly paid to the Biden family was nothing more than an elaborate fabrication. Smaroff's motivations were clear. By inserting himself into a high-profile political controversy, he sought to gain influence and attention. Living in Las Vegas at the time, he seemed to relish the role of a whistleblower, despite the lack of any evidence to support his claims. His inconsistencies and outright falsehoods ultimately caught up with him, but not before his lies became a centerpiece of a GOP-led smear campaign. 2. The GOP's role in amplifying lies. Smaroff's accusations did not emerge in a vacuum. They were eagerly embraced by Republican leaders, including House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer and House Judiciary Committee Chair Jim Jordan. These figures, long searching for ammunition against President Biden, seized on Smaroff's allegations to construct a narrative of corruption and malfeasance. The term Biden crime family became a rallying cry for Trump-aligned Republicans, a phrase designed to tarnish the president's reputation and sow doubt among voters. The GOP's strategy was clear: use Smaroff's false claims to justify invasive investigations into the Biden family's financial dealings. Congressional Republicans subpoenaed personal bank records, hauled private citizens into public hearings, and conducted exhaustive inquiries, all in the name of uncovering wrongdoing that simply did not exist. The entire endeavor was a thinly veiled effort to damage President Biden's credibility and distract from the legal troubles surrounding Donald Trump and his allies. 3. The collapse of the smear campaign. Despite the GOP's efforts, the smear campaign began to unravel as federal investigators scrutinized Smaroff's claims. Special counsel David Weiss led a thorough examination, revealing the baselessness of Smaroff's allegations. Fellow FBI informants had long warned that Smaroff was unreliable, and his inconsistent stories only reinforced their doubts. Ultimately, Smaroff's admission of guilt, pleading guilty to tax fraud, and lying to federal authorities exposed the fraudulent nature of his accusations. This collapse left GOP leaders scrambling. The lack of evidence supporting their narrative highlighted the political motivations behind their investigations. Moreover, the Biden administration's transparency throughout the process stood in stark contrast to the obstructionist tactics often employed by the Trump administration during its scandals. By cooperating fully with investigators, the Biden team allowed the truth to emerge unimpeded. 4. Broader implications for American politics. The Smaroff case is a cautionary tale about the dangers of weaponizing misinformation for political gain. By amplifying unverified claims, GOP leaders not only risked their own credibility, but also undermined public trust in democratic institutions. The case illustrates how false narratives can polarize the electorate and distract from pressing national issues. This episode also highlights the resilience of American institutions. Despite the political pressures surrounding the case, federal authorities maintain their commitment to uncovering the truth. Their work serves as a reminder that the rule of law remains a cornerstone of democracy, even in times of intense partisan conflict. 5. Justice and the Biden legacy. President Biden's long career in public service has been subjected to intense scrutiny. Over 5 decades in the public eye, he has faced numerous investigations, yet no credible evidence of wrongdoing has ever emerged. The Smaroff case is the latest example of baseless allegations failing to gain traction against Biden's record of integrity. As Biden nears the end of his current term, his administration continues to focus on governance and justice. From judicial appointments to legislative achievements, Biden's priorities remain centered on strengthening democracy and addressing the needs of the American people. The administration's handling of the Smaroff case exemplifies its commitment to accountability and the rule of law. 6. Looking ahead, challenges and opportunities. The resolution of the Smaroff case does not mark the end of politically motivated attacks against the Biden administration. As the nation gears up for the 2024 presidential election, misinformation and divisive rhetoric are likely to intensify. However, the administration's response to the Smaroff allegations offers a blueprint for countering such tactics: transparency, cooperation with legal authorities, and a steadfast focus on governance. At the same time, the case underscores the need for greater accountability within the political sphere. Lawmakers and public figures who amplify false claims must be held to higher standards, as their actions have far-reaching consequences for public trust and democratic stability. The Biden administration's approach to these challenges will play a critical role in shaping its legacy and influencing the broader political landscape. The guilty plea of Alexander Smaroff marks a significant victory for truth and justice in American politics. It exposes the perils of weaponizing lies for political gain and underscores the resilience of democratic institutions in the face of misinformation. While GOP leaders sought to defame President Biden through a baseless smear campaign, the truth prevailed, highlighting the strength of Biden's legacy and the importance of accountability. As the nation prepares for future political challenges, the lessons of the Smaroff case remain clear. Democracy thrives on truth, and justice will ultimately triumph over deceit. In an era of increasing polarization, this victory serves as a reminder of the enduring power of integrity and the rule of law. For President Biden and his administration, the focus remains on governance and building a legacy that prioritizes the well-being of the American people over partisan politics. With each new challenge, the Biden administration demonstrates its commitment to justice, transparency, and accountability. As history continues to unfold, this dedication will serve as a guiding light for a nation striving to uphold its democratic ideals.